This is the book of Job, chapter 12, verse 16. With him is strength and wisdom. The deceived and the deceiver are his. Brakata Yahweh, Brakata Yahweh Shai. Brakata Yahweh, Brakata Yahweh Shai. Yahweh is the name who the world ignorantly calls God, and Yahweh Shai is his son who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. First and foremost, I want to give all praises and all glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakha Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and taught us this truth. They are the true teachers for the nation of Israel on earth today. And salutation to the Akim out there pushing this truth and sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth, risking their life for Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai's sake. I'm Brother Samak from the GMS Miami camp. And yes, the reason why I brought out the book of Job, chapter 12, verse 16, is that reports are coming in how U.S. troops throughout the military branches, like Space Force, Army, Marines, Navy, National Guard, all right, they've been told by their commanders that the war in Iran was all part of God's divine plan, okay? And these troops have filed numerous complaints, okay, to the Military Religious Freedom Foundation, okay, saying that this is what they're hearing from their commanders, all right? U.S. military commanders have been invoking extremist Christian rhetoric about biblical end times to justify involvement in the Iran war to troops, according to complaints made to a watchdog group, right? Okay? So, hey, man, yo, this is Yappa, bro. This is Yappa. This is beautiful, all right? That's why I brought out the book of Job, chapter 12, verse 16, because, hey, even these plantation Christians, these mainly out of the plantation Christians, these Christian Zionists, they're in a trick bag. See, they want war so that baby Jesus can come, all right, and take them to heaven, all right? What they don't understand is that who the world inly calls Jesus, his name is Yahweh Shai, a so-called black man, is coming to deliver the elect of the nation of Israel wherever they were scattered at, okay? That's a fact, all right? Wherever they were scattered at. Good. Let's get Jeremiah 16. All right. Milk scriptures. We're going back to the basics. Okay. Jeremiah 16, verse 14. In fact, I'm going to read Jeremiah chapter 16 and Jeremiah 23 because they both hit hard. Therefore, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that it shall no more be said, the Lord Yahweh liveth, that brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. Right, and this has been talked about, all right, through all plantation Christian religions. They always talk about the deliverance of the children of Israel out of Egypt, okay? All right, but guess what? This deliverance is going to be better for the children of Israel, of the elect, which you plantation Christians are not a part of. 15. But the Lord liveth, that brought up the children of Israel from the land of the north. Right, this is where the great salvation is coming out of. America, Babylon the Great. All right? Okay? This is where the elect of the nation of Israel is going to be delivered out of. America, Babylon the Great, the land of the north. And from all the lands whither he had driven them, right, wherever they were scattered at. That's why in the book of James, chapter 1, verse 1, that repetition is the art of remembrance. James, a servant of God and of the Lord Yahweh Shai, Hamashiach, all right, his name's not Jesus, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad greeting, right, because we were scattered. That was part of our punishment, to be scattered, kicked off the land and scattered throughout the earth, mainly over here in the Western Hemisphere. All right, that's why the big deliverance is going to be in America, Babylon the Great. That's the land of the north. Okay? This is who salvation is for. All right? So, hey, but it's Yappa that the Lord got these military officers in a trick bag, man. All right? The deceived and deceive are his. It's spicy. It's getting spicy. This is exciting. We're almost out of here. Just waiting for that chip. We're just waiting for that RFID chip, which is the mark of the beast. That's all we're waiting on. Okay? So let's read this one more time. Jeremiah 16, verse 15. I'm a little excited. All right. But because, again, real quickly, this ideology comes from the Christian Zionists. They want war. They want bloodshed. And if you don't accept Jesus in your heart, they look at you, they say, okay, that you are nothing. They're just like the Zionists, okay, who look at everyone as goyim. All right. Christian Zionists are the same type of mentality, the same thing, okay? All right? It's getting spicy, man. And I will bring them again. So let's read this one more time. Jeremiah chapter 16, verse 15. But the Lord liveth that brought up the children of Israel from the land of the north, and from all the lands whither he had driven them. And I will bring them again into their land that I gave unto their fathers. Right. So this is clearly talk about the children of Israel. All right. Who are the fathers? Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That's plain. Okay. Now let's go to Jeremiah chapter 23, verse 7, because this one's even more spicier. Well, they're all spicy, but I like this one. This is my favorite. Okay. Because we got to start right here. Jeremiah chapter 23, verse 5. Behold, the days come, saith the Lord Yahweh, that I will raise unto David a righteous branch. Right. And who's that righteous branch with the capital B? That's Yahushua, who the Indian calls Jesus. He comes from the loins of David. That's why when you read the book of Matthew, the very first chapter, there's a genealogy, all right, pertaining to Yahushua's, what's it called? Forefathers, okay? All right, the line that he came out of, all right? And a king shall reign and prosper. That king is talking about Yahushua, and shall execute judgment and justice in the earth, right? Okay, because when Yahushua comes, who the word and he calls Jesus, so-called black man, with the angels, all right, they're going to punish you wicked people that walk the earth, all right? And the Yahushua is coming in the midst of World War III, okay, to deliver the elect from the nuclear destruction. Okay? 6. Check this out. This is why I say this is why I like this chapter when it comes about the deliverance more than Jeremiah 16, but in terms of favorite, because brothers got favorites. Brothers got favorite verses and chapters, right? Okay, there's nothing wrong to have favorites. Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, chose us for his favorite. He loved us. We're his firstborn. Jeremiah chapter 23, verse 6. In his days Judah shall be saved. In his days Judah shall be saved. It didn't say the commanders of the United States military are going to be saved. Okay? It didn't say Christian Zionists are going to be saved. It didn't say Zionists are going to be saved. It said in his days Judah shall be saved and Israel shall dwell safely. Right, the northern and southern kingdom, the 12 tribes. And this is his name whereby he shall be called, the Lord our righteousness. 7. Therefore, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that there shall no more say, the Lord liveth, which brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. Right, same thing in Jeremiah 16. 8. But the Lord liveth, which brought up and which led the seed. Ooh, the seed. What does the seed mean? Okay, so you have to be born in his right. Blood in, blood out. Not, one day you wake up and you say, I accepted Jesus Christ in my heart. That's BS to you military officers. But it's so beautiful. Keep believing what you're believing. You're making sure prophecy's fulfilled. Woo! We almost out of here. All right. I'm excited. I know. I'm excited. All right. The Hebrew word for seed is zarai. Zarai. Okay. Zarai. In fact, let's get a little Hebrew. Okay, just to break it down. Break it down. Well, that's the song to you degenerate, what's it called? Americans. All right? You are Degeneration X. Okay? A bunch of degenerates. So this character right here, all right, is a Za. You see? Za. Make sure it's a little bit bigger. This is Za. And this character right here is a Ra. Okay, down here. Here's a Ra. Okay? And this character right here is an I, Zerai. So that's the Hebrew way of saying seed. Okay? And what does it mean? Seed, sowing, offspring. So you got to be the offspring. Offspring, descendants. Descendants. Okay? Children. So you got to be the offspring, the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That's who salvation is for. Okay? Which led the seed of the house of Israel out of the north country, talk about America, Babylon the Great, and from all countries whither I have driven them, and they shall dwell in their own land. You see that? You see that? So who's going to bring the children of Israel back to their land? Okay? Yahweh Shai, who the world inly calls Jesus. Now let's get into this article. This is spicy, man. U.S. troops were told war on Iran was all part of God's divine plan. All right? Hey. Okay? They are right. It is part of the Most High's plan. All right? But salvation ain't for you jokers. All right? That's the point. Watchdog alleges. Religious Freedom Group says 200 troops sent complaints of superiors using extremist Christian rhetoric to justify war. Yup. The Christian Zionists. See, they want war too. All right? Just like the Zionists. All right? And the Zionists look at America as the new Rome. Bibi said that. Okay? That's why you had Jonathan Pollard, which I'm going to keep bringing out. Jonathan Pollard, an American-born JJ, 1948er, small hat, all right, a extremist Zionist, all right, stole America's nuclear technology back in the 60s, okay, and gave it to his Zionist buddies, the statehood of the JJs, all right? And then at that point, they took the same technology after they had their way with it. That's why them JJs have nuclear missiles, okay, in their land, ready to be launched, okay, with the whole Samson option, right? They took that same technology, nuclear technology that came from America, again, thanks to Jonathan Pollard and the Zionists, and gave it to Russia. Why? Because they want to fulfill Ezekiel 38. This is all facts. I'm not making this up. They want to fulfill Ezekiel 38 just as much we're looking for Ezekiel 38 to be fulfilled. All right? And we didn't need, all right, to do this by hand. They're doing it because they're controlled by, all right, the Lord on the left-hand side. All right? See, they're in a trick bag. The deceive, the deceiver hits. By the way, this is all facts. Google it. I've done lessons on this. I'm pretty sure brothers have done lessons on this. Okay? Yeah, this is where we're at. That's why the wars are never going to end. They're only going to get bigger. Get ready for a draft, okay? Get ready to be humbled. Everyone that walks the earth, get ready to be humbled. U.S. military commanders have been invoking extremist plantation Christian rhetoric about biblical end times, all right, to justify involvement in the Iran war to troops. The Military Religious Freedom Foundation, MRFF, says it has received more than 200 complaints from service members across all branches of the armed forces, including the Marines, Air Force, and Space Force. Yup. Okay. All right. So, yeah, man, it's getting spicy. Okay. Excuse me. One complainant identified as a non-commissioned officer, right? So he... more likely he's a sergeant first class or a staff sergeant. All right. You most likely be a staff sergeant because staff sergeants, all right, when I was in the military, they always looked out for the soldiers. Okay. I could say that honestly. There's a lot of staff sergeants that really look out for their soldiers when I was in the Army. Okay. All right. They always defended soldiers. All right. Especially if they knew them very well and they knew that they were hard workers. In a unit that could be deployed at any moment to join operations against Iran, told MRFF in a complaint viewed by The Guardian that their commander had urged us to tell our troops that this was all part of God's divine plan, and he specifically referenced numerous citations out of the book of Revelation referring to Armageddon and the imminent return of JC, which they don't know. That's not his name. All right, his name is Yahweh Shai. All right, that's his Hebrew name. That's the name, all right, okay, that he was called while he was walking the earth. All right, not Jesus. This is why IUIC, you're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. Okay? Saying that the name, all right, doesn't matter, or downplaying the name. All right? Not putting it at the forefront of your ministry. Now, they said Armageddon. Let's go into it. All right? Let's get to the point. Well, no. We gotta break this down. We gotta break this down, okay? Because we're in these times. These scriptures have to come out more and more, man. The book of Revelation has to come out more and more and more and more. We're here. Revelation chapter 16. Let's start at 13. And I saw 3 unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon. Okay, so let's start with the unclean spirits like frogs. I got it right here. Bow, movie. All right, we're in the Lord's movie. Everything is moving according to the Lord's plan. Okay, God's plan, right? It is true. It's the Most High's plan. All right, and his son is with it. His son is, okay, excited, just as like we're excited. So the 3 unclean spirit like frogs, okay, is talking about the 3 city-states, the Vatican, which controls the spiritual realm, okay, on the earth. All right, the city of London, finance. This is what controls the financial system. And that's why London is spearheading the whole new blockchain, crypto technology. And I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say this very slowly. The cryptocurrency that was chosen for this blockchain technology to facilitate the RFID chip which is the mark of the beast, is XRP. XRP. Okay? Go do some research. Continuing on. Military, U.S. military is DC. And this is why America has been used as the policeman of the world to push the New World Order hegemony, okay? And guess what? There are individuals in this military who are okay with trying to push this, all right? Because really, they had ulterior motives, which is, hey, if this what brings back JC, why not? The ends justifying the means. You have literally Edomites that think like this, that are like, well, hey, if this what it takes to bring back the sun, why not? Okay, this is what they think. They're sick, all right. And like the scriptures say, a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. Okay, so now we know what the 3 frogs are. And when I say they're sick, I'm talking about in their mind. They're double-minded. Here it is on one end, they want a new world order, but then amongst their ranks, they're like, well, shoot, if this brings back JC, if this brings back, okay, Jesus Christ, then so be it. Okay, that's what I'm saying. They're divided. Their mind is, a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways, man. That's in the book of James. So let's continue on. The frogs coming out of the mouth of the dragon, right? And the dragon represents ancient Rome, okay? And who ruled ancient Rome? The Edomites, the so-called white people, the same people that are ruling today, okay? All right, this is Rome all over again, 2.0, all right? And out of the mouth of the beast represents NATO and the EU, okay? And the primary language amongst NATO and the EU, working language, okay, is English. Now, of course, the 2 languages that were chosen in NATO is English and French, but the working language to get things done is English, all right? Which also confirms, all right, that these are the same people, okay? Because what was the language, the common language during the Roman Empire? Latin. Just like the common language today on earth is English. All right, these are the Edomites. These are the so-called white people. And out of the mouth of the false prophet, right? The false prophet is the Vatican, okay? And that's who that is. And that's why you've got a lot of fanatics who are in the military that are willing to go to war to fulfill prophecy, okay? But they don't understand that it's to their own demise, okay? 14, for they are the spirits of devils, you see, working miracles, which go forth unto the kings of the earth and of the whole world to gather them to the battle of the great day of God of Armageddon. Isn't that, wait a minute, hold up. Isn't that what's the complaint about? That the commander had urged to tell our troops that this was all part of God's divine plan? okay, that the war with Iran is God's divine plan, okay, the scriptures are on point, okay, because really they think they're the chosen people. It really goes back down to supremacy. They think that they look. Okay, let's go back. A lot of them think that, okay, JC, they think that's what the Son of God looks like them. This is still embedded in their brain, okay? All right? So these commanders and officers are like, hell yeah, because they think they're part of the chosen, okay? Same thing with them Zionists, all right? Them Zionists think that the Messiah is going to look like them, okay? It's supremacy, all right? This is just facts, okay? So even the left-hand side is working towards Armageddon. It's working towards World War III. Okay, they all want it. 15. Behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watcheth and keepeth his garments, lest he walk naked and they see his shame. Right, it's talking about the wisdom and knowledge and understanding of the scriptures. Okay. So, and part of the wisdom and knowledge and understanding of the scriptures is that salvation is only for the Israelites. Okay, which the Israelite consists of mainly the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, okay, as well as the Israelite foreigners that are scattered among the nations that may even look like the other nations, because you're going to have Israelites that are going to look Caucasian. You're going to have Israelites that are going to look, Chinese, Japanese, East Indian, okay, Arab, okay, the descendants of Ham, right? The African nations, right, which are the descendants of Ham. Some of them are going to, okay, some of them are not the descendants of Ham. They may look like a Hamite, all right, but they go back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, okay, because we were scattered. We were scattered among the nations. That's part of our punishment, all right, and that's part of the truth. You need to understand that we were scattered, and only the elect of Israel are going to understand this, okay. Also, knowing that the Messiah is a so-called black man with white woolly hair, not a Caucasian, okay? Also know, teaching that the RFID chip is the mark of the beast, which we're waiting on, all right? And it's coming. It's got to be here, all right, soon, real, within a matter of months. Because if this is coming out, okay, I mean, even this devil's got a timeline, even though he's deceived. All right, which goes to show you there is anyone who thinks that the war is going to stop, you're out of your damn mind. It's not. 16, and he gathered them together, all right, into a place called in the Hebrew tongue Armageddon, or Harmageddon, which means mountain of troops. And that's what you're clearly seeing in the so-called Middle East. That war in the Middle East is getting so violent, all right? It's dragging all these nations there to protect their interests, all right? China's going to have to get up in there, all right? Which they're there, covertly, just like Russia's there, okay? All right? And that's what we're looking at, all right? But all the various nations got to get up there to protect their interests, okay? And, 17, got to read this. And the seventh angel poured out his vial into the air, and there came a great voice out of the temple of heaven from the throne saying, "It is done." Yup. 18. And there were voices and thunders and lightnings, and there was a great earthquake, such as was not since men were upon the earth, so mighty an earthquake and so great. Right. What earthquake is this talking about? Nuclear destruction. Okay. Yep. Boom. Revelation chapter 11 verse 13. And the same hour was there great earthquake. The 10th part of the city fell, and the earthquake and in the earthquake were slain of men 7,000, and the remnant were affrighted. Right, talking about the elect of the nation Israel, and gave glory to God of heaven. Right, and when it talks about the 10th part of the city, all right, a portion of America is going to get hit first by a nuke, and then America's going to scramble, talking about, oh, let's do peace, diplomacy, and that shit's not going to stop. All right. it's gonna that's when these nations gonna be like, fuck you, boom, boom. Just like Iran, because there's reports coming in that after America did that snaky ass strike, okay, which was a war crime because it was a middle of diplomacy, okay, and the term is called. Let me see if I can find it because I just heard this term. I'm pretty sure the apostle elders know this term, but I looked it up. It's called acts of parody or paraphrase. Come on, let me see if I got it. See if I can pull this up. I'm on my phone. Bear me one moment. Let me see. Acts of, yep, there it is. Acts of perfidy. Yeah, acts of perfidy. Or yeah, perfidy. The United States was accused of perfidy by Iranian officials. Okay, and some international comments following the launch of large-scale military strike known as Operation Epic Fury. Right. The core of the allegations is that the U.S. used a high-stakes diplomatic process in Geneva as a smokescreen to finalize war preparation. Right. So it's called the acts of perfidy, and it's a war crime. Okay. All right, because they were in the middle of discussions. Okay, and basically America committed an act of betrayal. Okay, that there was no negotiation. That was all a ploy. All right, that was all a lead to get their military, what's it called, weapons and warplanes and soldiers ready to strike. Okay, so yeah, so why am I saying this? So Iran, okay, is like, hell no. Okay, we've been down this road. You always want to negotiate, and then you snake us, you stab us in the back. So that's why Iran is doing what they're doing, okay, which is going to create more tension in the Middle East. More of these Arab nations are going to realize that America is not protecting them anymore. Okay, that all America is doing is protecting and preserving them JJs. All right. And a lot of these Arab nations are going to be like, America, get out of our country. And if you don't, we're going to attack you. And then you have the Shiite Arab, okay, group, which is millions of them. They're already going after embassies and burning, okay, are trying to burn embassies. The U.S. Marines, I think they opened fire in where did the U.S. Marines open fire? U.S. Marines open fire. Yeah, where was it at? At the Karachi officials say, right. U.S. consulate in Pakistan. Yep. So you got U.S. Marines firing out of because they were trying to storm it. All right, people are losing it. Okay, and there's gonna be more of this types of event. All right, because they killed that Ayatollah. Okay, they snaked that Ayatollah, which the Ayatollah Khamenei wanted to die as a martyr. So you fulfilled his wishes. All right, yo, the Lord got these Americans and these JJs in a trick bag. The deceiver are his. Okay, like they don't. A lot of these people, a lot of these average Americans and these average JJs don't understand. All right, that the leadership of your country, okay, has been compromised. They're going to go with war and chaos, okay, and especially with this article coming out. So yeah, and Iran knows that America is not to be trusted, and they basically said fuck you, and now they're still lobbing, they're still fucking shit up to a point that now they need the THAAD, which is that interceptor missile, okay. They're running low in the Middle East, so now they need to bring some from Asia, from South Korea, which is supposed to be there to stop North Korea. All right, now they're considering bringing some from Asia, which goes to show they're low on munitions. The Lord got these clowns in a chick bag. Let's go. All right, so we're here. Back to Revelation. Hold up. Where is it at? Revelation. Here we go. So back to Revelation. I thought I had. No. Never mind. Revelation 16 and 19. Right. So this is the same. This is the same verse. Right. This is the same verse. All right. And the 16, 18. Excuse me. Is the same verse in Revelation 11. All right. Okay. Same thing. Same thing. Same. Revelation 11 and 13. Okay. And again, that remnant is the elective nation of Israel. So let's go back to Revelation 16 and 17 again. And the seventh angel poured out his vial into the air. And there came a great voice out of the temple of heaven from the throne saying, "It is done." 18. And there were voices and thunders and lightnings, and there was a great earthquake, such as was not since men were upon the earth, so mighty an earthquake, and so great. 19. And the great city, okay, America, Babylon the Great, was divided into 3 parts, and the cities of the nations fell. And great Babylon came in remembrance before the Most High to give unto her the cup of the wine of the fierceness of his wrath. Right. So what these commanders don't understand, that everything they're doing is for their own destruction. Okay. The deceiver is. All right. Everything you're doing, wanting to fulfill prophecy is to your own demise, because America is destroyed. Okay. Verse 20. And every island fled away, and the mountains were not found. 21. And there fell upon men a great hail of a heaven, every stone about the weight of a talent. Right. Let's talk about the nuclear missiles. Okay. The warhead. Okay. Them warheads, all right, are powerful. Let's see something here. I want to see something. I'm just curious. There was a terrible hailstorm, talking about the nuclear warhead, and hailstones weighing as much as 75 pounds fell from the sky onto the people below. They cursed God below of the terrible plague of the hailstorm. Right. So let me ask something here. I just want to see, how much does a nuclear warhead weigh? Oh, 50 pounds. Okay. So ranging from approximately 50 pounds for a attack device to over 8,000 pounds for a high-yield strategic weapon. Modern compact warheads such as W-80 typically weigh around 290 pounds. So it varies. Okay? Look at that. Okay? So, the scriptures are on point. You got 100 pounds, 75 pounds. What does the AMP say? They don't have it. Yeah. So, yeah, these nuclear warheads are going to fuck shit up. And then when it talks about men upon men a great hail of heaven, and there fell upon men a great hail out of heaven, every stone about the weight of a talent. Okay. And men, right, it's talking about the nuclear warheads, and men blaspheming God because of the plague of the hail, for the plague thereof was exceeding great. Right, those elites in the bunkers, doing their rituals, doing more baby cutting, more drinking blood, all right, putting up curses against the Lord and against us, trying to keep their power, but it's going to be none avail. So, Lord willing, this does edify. You can read this article. Again, these Zionists and Christian Zionists, all right, they want a war just as much as badly we want it, but we got it on the righteous end. They have it, all right, with their wicked plan, thinking they're going to get, for some of them, thinking they're going to get JC to return, which is to their own demise, okay? But to those that are, playing games with this Bible and playing games, questioning the Bible, at the end of the day, Okay, a lot of people that are controlling these military soldiers, they believe that what they're doing is fulfilling prophecy. So who the fuck are you? Okay, all right, which means the wars are not going to stop. So to our people who have been playing footsies with this word, you must repent, acknowledge you're an Israelite, okay, and wait for the return of Yahweh Shai, because he's coming. Okay, these devils are going to bring it. Okay, and ultimately is of the Lord. The Lord rules in the kingdom of men. The heart of the Lord is in the king. The king's heart is in the Lord's hand. All right, and he's moving it whatsoever he will. So, Lord willing, let's edify. I want to give all praises and all glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Makakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who ruled well and taught us this truth. They are the true teachers for the nation of Israel on earth today. And citation to the Akim out there pushing this truth and sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth and risking their life for Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai's sake. Love you, brothers. Keep enduring, keep the faith, keep pushing, keep fighting, keep studying. Pray without ceasing. Pray for each other. Pray for the apostles, elders. We're almost out of here. To the fuses that are watching, keep studying. When you pray, pray at your head cover. Okay, keep pushing, man. We're almost out of here. Don't let. Hey, we're clearly almost out of here. This is Yappa stuff. And with that, shalom. On to the next one. Okay, shalom.